loose ends are eating me. I decided that it's finally time for filming the finished pages video because my last finished pages video was in January. Hey everyone! So today I am outside. Since I am in the mood, I am out and brave enough to film. I thought why not to use the opportunity, the situation and film another intro. And sorry that I am still looking around. I just don't want anyone to see me filming and talking to my camera. Ahoj. Oh my gosh. Což se zrovna stalo, takže embarrassing. Anyway, I decided that it's finally time for filming the finished pages video because my last finished pages video was in January and it was for December pages, like last year. So there will be a lot of finished pages I colored in all my coloring books. However, there is one huge issue, and that's that I have no idea which coloring pages I was actually coloring. At one point this year, I just stopped writing down all the finished pages, and it's already a few months that I didn't write it down, so I will have to dig really deep into my channel and into all my coloring books and into my Patreon and try to find out what everything I was coloring this year. On the other hand, there will be a lot of coloring pages you can looking forward to, and I will jump into it right when I get back home. And I'm on my way home to get into this video, to get into searching my coloring books and find all the finished pages. But before I get home, enjoy the video and enjoy the vlog. Loco. Oh. While showing you clips from some of my trips, I want to invite you to something really exciting that I have been preparing for a few weeks now. It's the event that will run through the whole October on my Patreon. I'm calling it ColorTober and it's going to be super fun. Well, at least that's the plan. As some of you know, our Patreon community is called the Fellowship of the Coloring Cats, which is totally inspired by my love for cats and the Lord of the Rings. And that's also going to be the theme of this monthly event. To make it even more fun, there will be some RPG-style gaming elements as well. Here is how it works. Together we will go on a coloring journey on which every week there will be a main coloring quest, and on weekends you can take on some fun little side quests. As you complete these main quests, you will earn points, and if you finish them all, you will be rewarded with a badge of completion. But that's not all. Along the way, you will also stumble upon treasure chests. These will hold small rewards or mini quests to make the adventure even more exciting. Now, the treasure chests will drop across all tiers, so the higher your Patreon tier, the more treasure chests you discover. And for those in the highest tier, there will also be a special celebration quest waiting as a bonus. And of course, each tier will also have its own unique badge of completion. All rewards and badges will be digital, so they will be easy to share and show off. And don't worry if you join the journey but don't manage to complete all quests. You will still get a special badge of participation to celebrate being part of the adventure. And of course, all the videos and all the quests will stay on my Patreon, so you can join actually anytime. However, during the October, there will also be a special chat room inside the fellowship where I will be collecting all your pictures, and every week I will be sharing them on my Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and everywhere, of course, only with your consent. I will be sharing more details directly in the membership soon, and I can't wait to see you there and start this journey together. Actually, this is the very first time I'm preparing something like this, so for me, it's a really huge and exciting event, and if it will be a success, I would love doing similar events on different themes more often. Alright, that's all what I wanted to share with you. So now let's jump to my desk into my art studio and let's look at all the finished pages. Alright, so it took another month to get back into this video again. But here we are, finally! It's happening! It wasn't actually that easy to find every single coloring page that I colored this year, because it's actually September when I'm filming this part of the video. And today I will be showing you what I colored in January, February and March this year. When I was going through all the finished pages, I decided that I will not be showing the full year because that would be so much. I don't know how I would film this video. So I decided to divide it to parts. So this will be something like the first part, first coloring pages of 2025, finally. No more talking, let's just get into it. As you know, within my finished coloring pages are also always my completed pages that I was drawing or painting. So this is the page that I drew. And it was in January when I was doing a review on Woomer colored pencils. If you watched this video, you know that I didn't like the pencils. Even though the finished page may look like it's really nice, I'm not gonna lie, I like the finished piece, but I didn't enjoy the process at all. Because those pencils, well, you can watch the video if you want. It's kinda unpopular opinion because I know that everyone loves these pencils, but everyone has different taste and everyone likes different things, which is absolutely fine. I just didn't like how they blended, and overall the work, and especially the coloring, took me much longer than with other pencils. So this is the page I also did for the review of the Woomer pencils. And this is from the Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. And I was using the pencils for the inner circle, for the flower and for the hummingbird. And again, even though the result is really nice, I like how the page looks like. It took me like 3 times more to finish only the inner circle than it would normally do. Anyway, I love doing these miniatures, which you can see on my another pictures where I did similar miniatures. So this is what I drew with oil pastels, and I was using Lightwish oil pastels. They are so super soft. I have a review on my channel as well, and I will put the link to all these videos into the description box below this video, so you can check it out if you like. And it was so easy to work with these oil pastels and create like whatever picture you want. Only for the lamp I was using black pencil, Prismacolor pencil. And of course for all these splatters, for the stars, I was using acrylic paint. And to seal everything, I was using varnish for oil pastels by Royal Talents. Now I have a few more pages in this sketchbook, but I have no idea when I did them because I didn't make a note, but because it's after this page, so I believe that it was this year. So this is also oil pastels, but this is Mungyo oil pastels, the same like this, and these are all tutorials that are on my Patreon. Same like this. This was the tutorial on various backgrounds. And here again, miniatures. And I really love this page. This is totally my style. Well, my watercolor style. I was trying to do it with oil pastels and somehow it worked. And I really like the mountain in this picture. But I also like the other pictures. I really like all of them. And for sealing these pictures, these pages, I was using Satin Glazing liquid by the brand Golden, which is not a sealer. This is not varnish or fixative. This is slow drying extender for acrylic colors, which basically means that it's acrylic paint without the pigment. Anyway, you can use it on top of your oil pastels and they will not smudge. So that's good. However, it's important to keep in mind that this liquid will not protect your pages. It will create a layer that you can work on. So you can add pencils or another media. But if you want a real protection, you have to use fixative or varnish. Alright, so let's continue with, Magical Worlds. And I have several more pages that I did in January and March. So this is another page and I was using watercolors and colored pencils, my usual combination, right? And I really like how I did the glass effect. If you are familiar with this illustration, you know that originally there is no moon and there are some illustrations on the background, but I covered them with watercolors. Not that it would be covered completely, it is peeking through a little bit, especially if you look really closely, but I don't really mind it. And it's not that visible from a distance. Another page is done with oil pastels. I did the illustration with colored pencils, but the background and then the effect, the additional feathers are with oil pastels. And you can see all those bubbles, or what is it? This is how bad this varnish I was showing you earlier is. This is the varnish in question. I don't know why it is happening, but especially from the coloring pages, it just peel off. And I have no idea how to save it now. I think I cannot save it. I can just hope that it will not get worse. So that's actually why I stopped using that varnish and I bought this Satin Glazing liquid. From this double page, only the castle belongs to this video, because I did the dragon in April. For this page I was using watercolors and pencils as usually. And I did the background. It was kinda challenging to make the spiral. First, it was challenging to make it round and then realize where I want to have the dark parts and how it actually should work. Then I did the water on the bottom and some mountains just to fill the empty space and to complement the galaxy background. I have much more pages in this book, but they are not finished. This is one of them, and this another one. This is all gouache, but I will be talking about it in the next video. It has been ages since I last colored in Shooting Star by Trolle, and I did this page in January. As you can see, my favorite type of background with watercolors and pencils on the illustration, and I'm not sure, but I think I was using polychromos on the gold flowers. It was kinda hard because I'm not used to polychromos at all. I rather use wax-based pencils, but it was fun. And I did the red frog intentionally red, so it could pop up from the page and make it a little bit vivid and interesting. Let's stay with Trolle for a little bit and with her coloring book Sägen. And this is the page that I really don't like. It was supposed to be so nice. But this was very experimental page. I was using watercolors and pencils and oil pastels and acrylic markers or something. And these lines were supposed to be like the window reflections. I normally know how to make a window reflection, but I messed up and I couldn't fix it because I was using acrylic markers. It is as it is. I do not regret to make this page because I learned a lot from doing it and I experimented and had fun, and that's the most important, right? Now there will be another sketchbook page. This is all watercolors. And now in my another sketchbook, and I only made a note pages in Hanna sketchbook. This is Hanna sketchbook, but I have no idea what pages I did. This sketchbook is almost full now, so let's see if I will be able to remember what all I did. So I guess these pages. So this is some winter scene, and this is just a kraken. Then this is just a base for something, and here I was testing Kure také Gansai Tambi Sumi colors. Here is some galaxy with, I think, White Nights watercolors, but I'm not sure. Here I did some swatches. I think I could finish this double page. I did 4 mini paintings. Alright, so this was rather a tour through my sketchbook. Let's continue with Fragile World by Kerby Rosanes, and I have a hippo page here. I think I did this page in December last year, but I forgot to include it in my latest finished pages video, so I'm including the page now. And I kinda like the water dripping from the hippo, and I like how I did the water as well. I didn't want the page ended up like this. I had a little bit different vision, but in the end it's not that bad. In March I also did this hamster page, and I was using oil pastels and I was really experimenting with them. I was using some colored pencils on the hamster and on the grass, maybe on top of the oil pastels. I'm not really sure, but you can see it in the video. However, I really like how oil pastels can make the misty effect. That's really cool. Next is Hanna Karlzon. I have quite simple page here. So I was really surprised how successful was this coloring. It was actually quite simple. It was all just playing with watercolors on the background. The illustration was only the wand itself, so it was super quick. And then I did some of these circles and stars with acrylic pens. And I'm really happy how this page turned out, especially because I'm not very good at using red and orange colors. It usually ends up really dark and not to my liking, but I really like this one. Speaking of me not being good at using red and orange colors, let's look at Jewelry Box by Hanna Karlzon at this page. And this is a great example of what I meant, because my idea was to make crimson red background with black. It would complement the apples. However, somehow I always add some yellow into the red, then it turns out orange, then I try to save it, so I add more colors, and the result is this. I like the page as it is, but I had a different image in my head. What ended up to my liking though is this cat page, and I really like how I did the colors and all those sparkles and the cute kitties and yeah, the galaxy. Everything is just magical on this page. And I was also using acrylic markers on top to make a little bit of texture. And this is my work in progress picture. Let's look at Karolina Kubikowska's coloring book on the other side of the dream. And I did this fox, which is completely mixed media page. So I was using colored pencils on the fox and watercolors on the background and oil pastels for the details and for the fur as well. And then I did some splatters with acrylic pen. I did the eclipse on the background. The only thing that I could make better is the star. I could make it more curved, so it would be more natural, similar like the star in the eye. But I realized that after I did the star, so... But it doesn't matter, I learned from it at least. We have few more books, but let's continue with Worlds Within Worlds. And I have the astronaut page here. I was reworking this page because I really hated how I did it at the first time. I did only a black background, but when I discovered oil pastels, this is what I did after. I love the page now, and oil pastels are really great. They can save a page that you can think of as lost forever, because I was using acrylic paint for the background and I wanted to make a galaxy, but I'm not a huge fan of using acrylic paint, so I gave up that idea. And I really didn't know what to do with the page, because you cannot use pencils or soft pastels or alcohol markers on top of acrylic paint. And at that time I wasn't using acrylic markers that much either. So the only thing that was needed was the right art medium. In the same book I have another page. Well, I have to show you this. I know I did it long time ago, not this year, but I so like it. I just don't want this page to be forgotten. So, ta-da! But the page I did this year is this double page. This is all oil pastels. I only used colored pencils on the pterodactyls and the planets. But everything else is oil pastels. And I'm so proud of this page. And so happy how it turned out. It wasn't that hard actually. And yeah, oil pastels are really super helpful with doing double pages. Another page that I don't like how I did is from the Forest Kingdom, and it's the first page in this book. Again, watercolors and colored pencils. I covered all the flowers because it was just too detailed. And I kinda like how I did the reflection, though I could make it much better. It looks good under some angle, you know. But overall, I don't like how dark it is. I had some kind of idea, which I don't remember now, but I'm sure I had some different idea. But this is how it turned out. And it's fine. Again, I learn from everything that I don't like, because it's still creating. And we learn from everything we create, not only from the nice pages. Coloring book by Eriy. And this is my very first page, not only in this book, but in Eriy's books in general, because this was my first book and I don't have it for that long. But I'm so glad that I have this book, and I fell in love with Eriy's books. So now I have much more in my collection. And I'm doing more and more videos. This was actually for my Patreon. This was a color along, same like the pterodactyl page from Worlds Within Worlds. And it doesn't seem too busy, but it is actually, because of all these balloons you don't have really a large area to work with on the background. However, I was using masking fluid to cover the balloons. So the painting with watercolors and doing the galaxy was much easier than coloring the balloons. That was a little bit challenging because there is a lot of them. The same applies to all those houses. I was also doing a video for my YouTube how you can make deeper shadows if you are running out of the paper tooth. So check it out! At this point I have much more pictures from Eriy's books, but I will leave them for the next video. Now let's continue with Enchanted Earth, in which I did this eye. I really like the color palette. I chose the orange and blue. It created a little bit of turquoise here, and yeah, this is really my kind of palette. Again, I wasn't expecting that it will be that challenging. It was quite detailed in the middle of the eye. And I would totally forget the page in Dream Voyage, which is this one. And I was using alcohol markers, as you can see, for the base layer, and then pencils on top of it. And I really like all the colors. I love the green elements and the galaxy. And I also have a video, but it's on my Patreon, on seamless blending of the light source into the background. Overall, the page is very busy and very detailed for me. I have no idea what got into me that I wanted to color this page. Anyway, I'm glad I did it. What is always challenging for me on busy pages like this is to choose the right colors. I don't want to overwhelm the page with too many colors, but sometimes I just need to distinct the foreground and background, and I need to add more colors. But on this page I tried to stick to purple, blue and green and gold. It worked somehow. I completely forgot another page from Romantic Country. Fortunately, I had my notes, so I colored this page. I did the eyes in the moon, but I couldn't help. If you look at the illustration, it just looks like an eye. So I had to make an eye here. And then I did the background with watercolors and the castle with pencils. And I tried to stick to simple color palette, so purple, green and blue. And I remember I was deciding whether to make this color palette or whether to use like bloody red and black and make it all bloody and from like a horror movie. But in the end I decided for this color palette. Finally, this page. This is from Imagimorphia by Kerby Rosanes. I don't know when I did the tiger. Anyway, in January I did this bird, and again I completely transformed the background. I just wanted to make some galaxy or clouds or something like this, and so I did. The bird was a challenge to color because of all the feathers. It was really detailed. I was also covering all the doodles because I really didn't like it. But the background was fun. It was with watercolors and it wasn't even that hard because I didn't have to follow any shape. Like I didn't have to make it round. I was also using oil pastels for the corners, for the edges. I wanted to make them a little bit darker. And then all the spirals and stars, I think it was with acrylic paint pen. So that was the last completed page in this video. If you liked this video, it would mean a world to me if you could hype this video, because that will help to spread the inspiration to more people. Thank you very much for watching. Have a beautiful day and see you soon. Bye bye!